Well, there are more than 100 historically black colleges or universities in the country, and within the last week, dozens have scrambled to enact some new rules and restrictions to keep students safe during this coronavirus outbreak.
And it's not just to keep students safe, but also to keep them from spreading it to their loved ones in their own communities. Joining us tonight via Skype is our own Fred Hickman, who is self-quarantined. Fred?
Hi guys, how are you? Miss you. I wish I could be there with you, but you're right. We're erring on the side of caution here. And in these days and times, we have to foxhole in place, if you will, in order to kind of keep everybody safe. And that's for our elder citizens, our younger citizens as well. But there's a special role for the college students, because they're the ones who are going to lead us into this next chapter in history. And believe me, the world has changed. I think we all can admit to that. So who is going to be that body of people that leads us in, and how are they going to do it? Well, we have a little bit of an insight from one of our FAMU presidents. Let's listen.
The coronavirus pandemic has turned American life upside down and inside out, and college students certainly are not immune. A student at Jackson State University tested positive for COVID-19 earlier this month. That student is currently in isolation at home. But the diagnosis prompted the university to extend spring break, suspend in-person classes altogether, and restrict travel. But Jackson State certainly is not alone. Most schools have now canceled in-person classes, or they've extended their spring breaks, including Howard, North Carolina A&T, Dillard, and Bowie State. Right here in Tallahassee, Florida A&M University is working to get equipment to teachers and to students to make that happen.
We are in the process of procuring additional laptops to support faculty and perhaps students who, while we're in this distance and remote mode of offering instruction, can have the tools that they need to maximize this during this period.
FAMU President Dr. Larry Johnson wants students and their families to know that they have been working on this plan for weeks now.
Well over a month ago, we appointed an internal committee to work through all of the issues that we might need to address as this pandemic was developing. Right, and so that group has been meeting pretty much on a daily basis, sometimes multiple times a day, sorting through strategies and new developments to ensure that we keep our campus community well informed of what's happening, taking all of the best precautions that they might.
Classes at FAMU will be taught online from March 23rd through Saturday, April the 4th. With professors training on new equipment to serve their students in a brand new way.
They are full bought into our motto of excellence with caring. They care about our students, and they're going through these extra steps to ensure that our students don't lose any ground academically.
He says the next step is to make certain that their students are taken care of in other ways as well.
We have such a large proportion of our students who are not from the best of economic circumstances, and so we worry about all of them having access to the tools that they need to take advantage of the distance mode of instruction and so forth. But we also worry about things such as, if we get into a point where we have to worry about, housing and so forth and food services, how we're going to handle those kinds of things, from a financial perspective.
The most controversial and perhaps forward-thinking step is a new way to hold commencement ceremonies.
We're going to be going to an alternative mode of our commencement program. We will not be having an in-person commencement program as we typically do, or programs, and so we're working through that. We have a subcommittee of that internal committee that I talked about that's looking specifically at alternative modes of offering students an opportunity and their parents and family to witness, this really great moment in the lives of these students that we've taken for granted so much by them marching across the stage and hearing their parents and friends cheering for them. We're going to give them that moment. It's just going to be in a different format.
Yeah, so there we are. We are in a whole different world now, folks. Whether we like it or not, this is the hand that we have been dealt, and HBCUs are dealing with it as best as they can. These two knuckleheads behind me are dealing with it as well, and we're trying to help them through as best as we can also. So,
Actually going to ask
that's
you,
it.
Fred, about because I know your daughter was a student at Bethune-Cookman.
Still is.
Yeah, it is, okay. And so how is she dealing with that, just from her perspective?
She's dealing with it. We're expecting her to be at home very soon, within the next day or so. Our son is at Texas Southern over in Houston, and he's going to be heading home as well. But, and that's great because they're close. But what do you do with students who are, from California, Washington State, wherever they happen to be, overseas, for example, maybe in Canada, and they have tried to return to campus and now they can't get back home. So that's another whole logistical problem that has to be dealt with. But our kids are doing fine so far.
All right, Fred, stay safe and thank you so much for joining us
Oh,
via
you're
Skype.
welcome. I'll see you next hour.
Okay.
Bye-bye.